Where does sheets live? We've got to find sheets quick. Let's bling bling. My words didn't come out then at all. Tuck back to a front tuck. Tuck front lever. Ba-ding bing sheets quick. Oh shit, did I say grasshopper? That was spider. Right, let's start again. Fuck me. Yo, what's going on, guys? Rhys here from More Than Lifting with the More Than Lifting podcast. Conversations about calisthenics, bodyweight training, gymnastics, all that good stuff. I'm Rhys, a personal trainer from the UK and founder of morethanlifting.com. And in this episode, we're going to be talking about how you can take your training to the next level, beyond the basic reps and sets methods, all right, and into crazy skill madness with transitions and combos and all sorts of stuff like that. Right, we're just going to dive straight into this one because it's so much fun. All right, first thing you might be thinking is like, why would I even do like transition, or what is the transition? So transitions, all right, it's not just transitions. All right, I've had to categorize it. All right, so I've come up with 3 different ways that you can take your training beyond just straight skills. Okay, so we got transitions, we got combos, and we got routines. Okay, so transitions, they're fun. They're quite often really extreme, and this is kind of where it starts. And then we've got transitions as well. Sorry. This is kind of where it starts. So also transitions are often a one-way ticket. Okay, what I mean by that is you go from one point to another. Okay, there's no going back, there's no reps. It's just, can you go from here to here? So we're thinking of things like a handstand to an elbow lever, or a negative press, like a handstand down to a planche, or down to I don't know, something else, or say like a crow stand to a handstand, or like a front lever to a back lever, or a German hang to a front lever, or something like that. One-way tickets anyway. So the point is you go from one point to the other. Okay, it's not just holding a skill, but it's transitioning from one position to the next. All right, to be able to do this kind of stuff, you need to already be able to do both skills. All right, because if you can't do one already, then how are you going to go from that to the next one? And if you can't do skill 2, then how are you going to finish in that place? Because you can't do it. So it requires that you actually have developed the skill to a certain extent. Now, that doesn't mean that you can't do it wherever you are now. All right, and we'll get into that in a bit. But just as a hint, you could do like a front lever in tuck instead of full front lever, and then you could transition to a tuck back lever and back again. So you could do it almost whatever skill level you are at. It depends on the skill, obviously, but there's progressions and stuff for almost everything. And so then there's always progressions for these transitions as well, which is mental and absolutely insane, and just adds to the fun as well, because it means you can start doing stuff like this straight away, and it will literally just change everything. And it is so much fun. So transition, we only done transitions so far. So transitions, they're fun, they're quite often pretty extreme. All right, so you need to be quite skilled, and they are quite often a one-way ticket. So they are usually a one-way ticket. So you don't try and go back, you just try and go one way, try and go from here to here, finish, So then the next one is combos, and combos are different because combos are usually like 2 exercises or something like that, or 3, and you kind of do one, then the next, then for reps. Okay, so this isn't the one-way ticket. All right, so say you can do your transition, you can do your I don't know, what were we saying, a tuck front lever to a tuck back lever, and then you're like, oh cool, so I can do that now, and you can come out, and then you think, right, so why not do that for reps? Yeah, so imagine if you can go from one to the other, that's transitioning from one position to the next and holding it, and owning both points. But you're not just training both of those skills, you're also doing a dynamic exercise off the back of that. So it's going to be working everything like crazy to transition you from one place to another. So it just takes this training to an absolute unfathomable heights. Is that an oxymoron? It can't be. Yes. So they're repetitive, thus you can do them for reps. So this is taking your transitions and turning them into like a dynamic skill or a dynamic exercise that you can do for reps. All right, so they're not just one-way tickets. So what might this be? This might be like, we go for more dynamic strength stuff. This might be like a pull-up to a leg raise. So you do a pull-up, then you do a leg raise, pull-up, leg raise, or it might be like an inverted hang to an LSit, and then you press up to an inverted hang, and then you come back down to an hang hanging LSit, and then you press back up and hanging LSit, you know. So that is going to be intense, by the way. So, but that's also going to really build like lever strength, core strength. That's going to do stuff you wouldn't even believe. And I can't even just describe telling to you right now, because it's just, that sounds pretty extreme. Inverted hangs, yeah, are one of those things that on a bar, on the rings it's easy because you can just fit in the middle. On a bar, you don't realize how difficult it actually is just to hold yourself like in that position, nice and straight, you know, own that, you know, be in the right position, that hollow body position. But you'd be surprised how much how much it takes out of you. Yeah, so imagine going, you got your inverted hang, you got your hanging half lever, and then just transition in between them. Your arms stay straight the whole time. This is shoulders, this is core, like this is intense. You probably do your hip flexors a bit as well. And if you're not very good at these skills, then you might even get like a bit of quad cramp. So just be careful for that, I guess. But yeah, so that's what combos are anyway. Repetitive stuff, so it's reps. Okay, done together. So that's those two then. You got your transitions, you got combos. Then the next one's routines. And routines, this is more of like a gymnastics thing, all right? But it also applies to your calisthenics stuff and all your skills stuff, all right? But I'm just hesitant to call it, when I say that, routines, I kind of cringe, because in gymnastics, like, it's all right to say routine, but everywhere else is like, what do you mean routines? Like training routines? It's a bit weird, isn't it? So I understand that. Anyway, routines, they're more like, we just call them routines. They're going to be more like multiple skills chained together. Yeah, so think of it like your like a gymnastics thing. So you might go on the rings, you might do like a muscle up to like a handstand, then you might do like come down to a press down to a planche, then through a Maltese into a back lever, and then I don't know, all kinds of crazy stuff like that. But the point is, you're doing multiple skills, you're not going back and forth, you're not taking your time. What you're doing is you transition from one to the next, to the next, to the next. All right, you own each one, you make sure you hit each one nice, and then you push on to the next one. And this might sound like a bit cringy if you're not used to doing this kind of thing, and maybe you don't do gymnastics, you just want to learn some crazy strength shit. But everyone, if you see all the calisthenics comps they all do routines. Yeah, they all do like, okay, a lot of it's like swinging around and doing their 360s and that. But then you've got people doing stuff where they go from one skill to the next, and it is very, very similar to gymnastics a lot of the time. So it matters, all right? And it's not just because if you want to do calisthenics, I don't do any of that, you know? Like, that doesn't really interest me very much, to be honest with you. But you can still use that in your training, all right, just to completely transform your results and your ability, all right? And that's the point, is it's not just to get better results, and it's not just because routines are cool or because they're harder, you know. It's literally because it hits everything, all right? And we'll go into that in just a second, but like, think of things we can do right now. So like a simple one is just handstands. So you got loads of handstand variations, which are just variations of leg positions basically. And if you haven't done anything like this, so if you can't handstand at the minute, it's kind of difficult to explain, but we can do it with push-ups afterwards. So say you get into your handstand, you start nice and straight, like just a straight handstand, then you go to like a straddle, so you split your legs out to the side wide, then you bring your legs in together, so you form like a diamond shape, then bring your tuck into a tuck, so you bring your knees together, turn in at your hips, and then you straighten back up into a pencil. You can go round and round and round and round and round like this. Like, it's quite a common little routine you see people doing all the time, and like for yoga and just general stability training for your handstand. It's really good to improve your balance, but it's a routine. Don't run for the hills. That is a routine. And you could do this over and over again, like this cycle. So you could say like, you are really doing that for reps, and like, yeah, fair enough, but just try and do it once, yeah, and then come back and tell me, and we'll think of something else for you to do. Like, it's all right if you don't want to go round and round, but like, if you can do that and you're working it, then you probably will just go round and round. So another way that you can apply this then, if you can't do handstands, is looking at push-ups. Okay, and what you can do with your push-ups is you can just do a different variation every time. So maybe you start in like a regular push-up, and then so you do your push-up, and then you go do like a wide grip, or we'll go without plyometrics. Yeah, so you're not moving your hands. All right, so this will be a challenge. So so you're not going to hear this, but this is the third time I've tried to do this. All right, so this doesn't normally happen. Usually I just whiz through the whole thing. So You do your neutral push-up. Yeah, regular push-up, boom, easy. Then you do knee to chest. So you go down again, knee up one side, knee up the other, right into your chest, each rep. Yeah, so then that's 3 reps so far. Then you do another one. This time you do a Spider-Man push-up. So you come down. As you come down, you bring your knee right up to your elbow on your outside laterally, yeah, sideways. So you bring that knee right up, tap your elbow, cool, or as high as you can. Don't worry, we're not counting. That's not what's important. Push back up, do the other side. So that's 5 reps. Then you do grasshopper push-up. So this time you go down and you bring your knee inside and stick it out the other side. Yeah, this is a really good one. Okay, so then down, boom, down, bash, back up like that. And then you turn the other way, bang, put the other knee in. Yeah, and then what else can you do? Okay, so then you go down again and then you do a T push-up. So you go up one side, boom, you can go up the other side. So now that's like 7 push-ups and then all in a row. Okay, and each time you've done different dynamic movements. Okay, so a lot of them were both sides, so that's kind of cheating. But each time you've done a different variation, a different dynamic movement, and it's going to just be so much harder than it is doing just 7 push-ups, okay? And you don't have to stop there. You can keep going with different variations. I just wasn't trying to do plyos and I wasn't trying to do any other kind of shift. So we were finishing in a neutral kind of straight arm plank position, you know, prone position each time. But you could go from there, you could do like a lateral plank where you step to the side, and then you could do like your T push-up, you could do that side plank, you could then do kind of push it up, really press high, get your hip nice and high for that kind of side, more of like a bridge shape, come back down, turn it round. You could go through, do a front bridge, put your hand down the other side, turn back over, plank up the other side, T push-up, you know what I mean? It goes on and on. All you have to do is get a bit creative and see where you can go from each position, or how many variations do you know, just go through them all. You can do the same with rows. You can do a chin, you can do, okay, so chin, we're off to a bad start. With a chin, your hand's the other way around the bar, so it's quite difficult to switch back round, so we won't do chins. So you got your neutral, then you got switch to close grip row, switch to wide grip, archer, typewriters, you know what I mean? Like, you can mess around with it, you can change it up different times instead of just doing the same rep all the time. The idea of calisthenics is that you're not doing this stuff. It's supposed to be more engaging, it's supposed to be more fun, yeah, than just, that's why you stopped doing weights, isn't it? Unless you just wanted to learn some cool tricks, which is all right with me, you know, if you want to learn cool tricks. But ultimately it's about pursuing skills, all right? And that's not me forcing the reason I train on you, but that's what calisthenics is about. It's about learning, developing, growing, acquiring new skills, and using that as a reason to train rather than just what the next weight is, Okay, yeah, it's your functional stuff, yeah, it's definitely better for you, but what's really drawing you to that? It's about learning these skills. Like, these skills are your milestones. This is you developing. This is the proof of your development, your strength development. So why not take it to the next level by learning to move between them? All right, what's cool? You can do a front lever, yeah, like, all right, loads of people can do front levers, and mate, if you've trained for a front lever, you know it takes work as well. And once you've learned your front lever, you're like, boom, learn a front lever, and then you look around and everyone's like just doing other skills like walking in their front lever or front lever pulls, or they can just hold it forever, you know what I mean? And you're like struggling the whole time. You learn to push the limits by pushing your limits every time. Well, not every time, but pushing your limits regularly. So when you're learning skills, or when you've just learned a skill, just set up with your training partner and have fun with it. You know, it doesn't need to be a hardcore training session all the time where you're like, oh, I need to do my push and my pull and my like, chill out, you know what I mean? And that's coming from me, so you know you can chill out a bit sometimes. Remember back when I was talking about the different elements of your training that you need, like elements of calisthenics training that you need in your programs? Like this, the freestyle element is one of these things. And it doesn't have to just apply to freestyle, but I'm talking about when you meet up with your partner, a training partner, and you haven't really got anything particularly planned, or you just meet them on a random and you start having a crazy session. You're like, oh, have you tried this? No, have you tried that? Cool. Like, it's not about just doing like freestyle calisthenics or gymnastics. I don't mean it like that. I just mean like, just do whatever you like. Fuck the program today. Like, have fun and test your limits. Like, learn these skills. Learn to transition between the skills. Like, learn to do it multiple times. You know, you can transfer. You can do a transition from like a handstand down to an elbow lever. That's hard. That's hard as fuck. Like holding. Just, you got to hold on, man. You got to try and stay straight. And you just got to hold on. Don't let your feet touch the floor. And then to take that to the next level, you do that for reps. So that's kind of like a combination, like a combo exercise, but it's actually probably one of the hardest variations, but it's a push-up variation called a 90-degree push-up, and it is incredibly difficult. And But that's just like a basic transition that people have done, and then they thought, holy shit, imagine if I could go back. And then people have sat there and sessioned it together, and one day one of them cracked it first. And they were both like, yeah, motherfucker, well done. And then they did it, and then their mate done it, and now they do it for reps, and it's called a 90-degree push-up. And people train hard for that. I really want to do that. By the end of this year, for the 100 push-up challenge, I need to be doing those 90-degree push-ups. So this stuff, it doesn't have to. The thing about this is it doesn't have to be that important to you. Like, you don't need to do this, all right? But it's fun. So if you're not enjoying your training all the time, if you're just feeling a bit shitty about it and you're like, oh, I can't be fucked, like, just chill out for one day, go down there and just try and learn some skills. Like, if you go to the gym or just stay at home, do some skills, whatever you can do, or do a mix up variations. Oh, I can't be asked to do push-up finishes again. I do push-up finishes every bloody day. I do row finishes every day. We'll just mix it up with the variations. Like, you don't have to, like I said right at the beginning, like I call them transitions and combos and routines, but like you don't need to be so strict in categorizing it all. I just do it for the sake of explaining it to other people. Like, for you, it's more just about having fun and thinking about what you can do with these skills once you've learned them, because it takes ages to pursue some of these, and once you do it, you're like, is that it? Like, no, learn some cool stuff, push the limits, and you gotta do stuff no one's ever done before. And like, you know what I mean? I was thinking, right, as an example of this, so I tell you what, right, so an example of this, right, is like an LSit press to a front lever. Okay, so you like a hanging half lever. That's pretty easy. Like, it's half a leg raise. It's like a leg raise where you just hold like an LSit hanging. It's pretty simple. So imagine going from this, pressing into a front lever. So in order to do this, you're not like going up to the rings or bar and then stretching out or whatever. You're bending at your shoulders, so you're closing up your shoulders and opening out your hips together. Yeah, so you just lever up, your hips nice and high and your shoulders just tighten up. Oh mate, that'd be insane. So like, I don't know if people have done that. There are probably people out there who can do that. If you can do something like that, like an LSit press to a front lever, not just like pull up and then stretch out or whatever. I mean, just like hips straight high, shoulders just like in one movement. That would be impressive. Like, I want to see that shit, because I just want to meet someone who can do it, because it's awesome. I just imagined that right before I started this, and like, look what's happened. If you can do that, or if you think you could do that, I challenge you to try that today and DM me on Instagram with your fails and successes. Like, I don't care. I think it was awesome anyway. So let's look at some other variations. So I've said already, like, pull-ups and leg raises. I've already said things like a German hang to like back levers or front levers, or however you want to do it. But you can do it with literally anything, like with your push-ups, like with your rows, your tuck lever. So your tuck raises. Say you can only do like tuck raises and your low-level stuff. Like, that's all right. Think of your variations. So you get your tuck raise, you can finish it an isometric, hold that isometric, do another, hold up the top, go back down to the bottom, like go out, try and stick one leg out. It's for like a single leg LSit. Try and do like a tuck raise with a single leg, and then pause at the top, and then switch legs, and then do it again. You know what I mean? Think of how you can mix it up. All right, you see people doing this. Like, there's this guy on Instagram. Oh man, I'm gutted. I don't remember his name offhand. Like, it's like Olaf something. There's like his numbers. Anyway, this dude, right, he does this all the time. Like, it looks so much fun, just like his training. I've spoken to him a couple of times, just just as an interaction. But I don't know this guy personally or anything. Never met him. Like, he lives in America or whatever. But like, he is a great example of just some people who just find fun in doing this and just do that kind of stuff all the time. And he's in great shape. Like, and he isn't like the youngest guy either. He's not like 18, 23 or something like that. Like, but he's in amazing shape. And it's inspiring to see people doing stuff like that, because it is so much fun, and it's constantly challenging your body in positions you otherwise just don't get work like that. Okay, that's functional. That is functional conditioning at its best. So learn crazy skills, guys. But before you go off learning crazy skills, that you're all excited about, what is the real point? Aside from the fun and the challenge and blah, 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 right, this is going to build your strength, this is going to build control, it's going to build your coordination, and just like neuromuscular connectivity, that dynamic tension, that control, like all these things are getting tested. But it's going to do discipline as well. Like think of things like planche skills, straight arm strength, like discipline to actually really own a position before you go back, and like not bend your legs and stuff like that. It really does help develop this. And the most important one probably is grit. All right, because at any point you could just relax and just let it go and just flop onto the floor. Yeah, but it's up to you whether you hold on for the extra couple of seconds and really give it your all or give in, right? And that's the difference between doing something and not, all right? That really is the difference, is whether or not you're willing to hold on tight and hold on tighter than someone else longer, right? We used to do this thing at the end of our training sessions, like way back when I first started this stuff, and we used to train in the trees. And this place, we used to do like finishers, but once we could hang for so long, that we can do our LSits for so long, then it kind of got like pointless. What's the point of doing an LSit for a minute and then you're fine afterwards? So after a minute, it gets kind of tedious just holding an LSit. So we'd be like getting each other to talk. We'd be doing flutter kicks. We end up doing like one arm hanging like LSits, like hanging half levers, just one arm. Trying to talk the whole time like you're doing it, and someone's counting and they're like, oh, it's been 30 seconds, and you're like, oh, I'm gonna hit that 40. They're like, it's 42 seconds. You're like, oh, I'm gonna hit this thing, right? And all you're doing is just holding the skill and just wiggling and wiggling. That's not a lot, but you can do stuff like that and have fun doing it. Yeah, it doesn't need to be boring. It doesn't need to be tedious. And I guess really that's the point. But in that finisher, that's not a skill like transition or anything like that, but that tests your grit, because with flutter kicks, like you can kick as long as you want. With finishers, you can hold for as long as you want. Yeah, it's up to you. It's when you start slipping, when you start letting go and giving in, and you flutter kicks are the best example for this, because like they're such a low level skill that there is no reason for you to get tired, and it hurts, but it's willing to put up with that pain, willing to put up with that agony and still go. All right, that's grit. A very long way of getting around to it, but that's what grit is. And developing your grit is really important as well. All right, not just in training, but in real life too, believe it or not. All right, guys, I've literally rambled for ages accidentally. Oh my God, what have I even done? Right, guys, sorry to ramble on, but that is the end of the episode. If you like what you heard, go and try some crazy skills now. If you've never done anything like this, just pick whatever level you're at and just have fun. Just try stuff. Just try and mix it up a little bit. There's no one, it doesn't matter. Like, just enjoy yourself for a little bit. All right, test yourself. Okay, it's not necessarily going to be fun all the time. It's going to be hard, but test yourself and push your limits. That is it, guys. So if you like what you heard, give us a subscribe, share us with your mates and training partners. As always, give us an honest 5-star rating and review, wink wink, and I will catch you in the next one. If you have any questions, if you want to reach out to me and have a conversation about your training or whatever, the best place to do it is on Instagram @MoreThanLifting, and yeah, we can have a chat, so that would be cool. Otherwise, I will catch you in the next one, guys. Keep in touch with yourselves, and see you then.